Happy Hour on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Now let's have some fun. Here is your host, Johnny Radio.
Spicy Wednesday.
Oh, is it?
Well, that's what I like to call Wednesdays.
Never heard it said like that.
They're spicy.
Okay.
No John. John's not here all week. If
Jazz
you're new to
Fest.
the program, he's in Jazz Fest in New Orleans. I'm Jay Morgan Harder. Brian Dacus, one of the hosts of Sports Time on Sports 56, is kind enough to come in here and do double duty.
That's right.
And be a co-host for Happy Hour with
I mean,
Johnny
look at
Radio
me.
as well.
I mean, I'm the MVP.
Yeah, you're like when Kevin Durant
Called his mom.
You're like my mom.
Okay.
You're the real MVP.
I don't know about all that.
That's what I would. If I was to win an MVP award, I would say that you're the real MVP.
Well, thank you.
So you're like my mom. If I was Kevin Durant, I would love to be Kevin Durant.
I'd love to be Kevin Durant's mom.
Yeah, no, we got a lot to talk about today. Or the normal amount, I guess. It's going to be the same amount of 2 hours. It's going to be the same amount of talking, I suppose, no matter what. But I have to start with this. Bryant Dacus yesterday for 5 hours of radio, plus the 2 hours that we sit here listening to the glorious Colin Cowherd show. The Herd with Colin Cowherd, I believe is what it's called. I heard all day yesterday. Oh, my God. I heard all day yesterday, Bryant. All day. All day yesterday, I heard this guy, this dude from Double-A, Bryce Miller.
Oh,
he's
man.
a bum. Nobody knows anything about him. He lost 2 games in Double-A this year, and they're calling him up. Terrible decision. I like the over in this game. Bryant, he threw 6 immaculate innings. Not actually immaculate innings, but 6 great innings. 10 Ks in the game. What do you have to say for yourself?
I feel like that was a loose...
And the Marlins won the game. I mean, the Mariners won the game.
I feel like that was a loose imitation of me because those seem to be all the things I said yesterday.
Yes! That's right.
The shock on my face because I was watching.
He had 10 Ks, Brian.
Which is crazy because I think going into the game, I think he had thrown 6 2/3 innings or something like that and had 9 strikeouts in Double-A. So he completely passed what he had done in 2 games in Double-A. In his first MLB start, because I was watching the Kraken last night, I didn't have the Mariners on my main television.
Is it important to note the opponent?
The Oakland Athletics. That is a good point.
So it very well could be a Double-A lineup.
Very well
in the majors.
But
I shouldn't say that. I know a guy who plays for the A's.
You do.
Good player. He's second in the AL in home runs. Actually,
might be their
Brent
all-star
Rooker,
this
Memphis,
year.
I should mention.
Yeah, ECS guy. Well, ECS or St. George's?
No, you're right. He went to ECS.
Shout
out Brent Rooker.
That's
if anyone knows him. That was one of my questions I was going to ask David Cobb yesterday. Is who were the best athletes in the city when you were in high school? Who was the best athlete you would have competed against? Yeah, because David Cobb also went to ECS.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I believe
true.
he graduated a year before I did, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
High school, so we would have maybe run in the same athletic
Cross
circles.
paths.
Yeah.
Interesting. But the shock on my face when I checked the score of that game and saw it was 0-0, and not only was Bryce Miller throwing a perfect game in the 6th inning,
10 Ks.
The other guy who I don't know can't remember who's pitching for Oakland, also had a perfect game through 6 innings.
So the bats were not awake.
The bats were not hot.
You were very confident that was one thing you said. You said the bats were going to be awake in this game.
Bats were getting hot. The Seattle had kind of been up and down, but the Athletics had kind of shown some consistency the past couple of games. Both pitchers gave up a lot of runs, seemingly.
Bryce and Mason Miller.
Yeah, Bryce and Mason Miller, the brothers.
I don't think they are.
They're not. But yeah, I was surprised. I was impressed. One of the Seattle guys I follow on Twitter tweeted and said, "Does this mean that the Oakland Athletics have a worse roster than the 2 AA teams he faced?" Maybe, but
a beat writer said that. Is that what you just said?
No, radio host.
That's a radio statement,
yes.
Not a beat writer statement.
No, it was not a beat writer. It was a radio host. But great start for him. I hope that's now the second Mariners pitcher that made their MLB debut, and I think through like 5 hitless innings.
Who's the
this
first?
Year? I don't know, some guy earlier this week.
You just saw that compared. Oh, it was earlier this week. Even.
It was this week, and I watched it. It was the same day that who for the White Sox had a no hitter through like 6 innings.
Lance Lynn, right?
Lance Lynn, same day.
Wow. I don't remember that.
But this guy it was his MLB debut.
Well, we'll talk more about baseball later.
Yeah.
Not to bury the lead. I just had to talk about that though because I thought it was hilarious that not that like the Mariners won or that the guy did well because John sometimes likes to come in here and goes, "Well, you said to take this bet and it lost. No, what are you, an idiot?"
I did.
And
That's
so,
on me.
but I'm not. It's not even that you take the bet and said lost. The guy had 10 Ks in 6
incredible.
innings.
It was incredible.
An unbelievable outing.
It was unbelievable. I went back and watched most of his start, and it was incredible.
And it was, I believe it headline. No, it didn't headline, but it was one of the top stories this morning on MLB Network, both on Quick Pitch and MLB
it's like
this morning or whatever it's called.
They were showing like
MLB Today. What's the show called? MLB
Quick Pitch.
No, the one that has Roflo hosting, and he sits there with. I can't remember, and it doesn't matter.
It comes on before I wake up in the morning. That's
no
all
way.
I gotta say.
Quick Pitch does. Anyway.
But they were like throwing up a bunch of numbers and stuff. Like he's the first MLB debut to have 10 strikeouts since like 1950, and here's like comparatively other guys Seattle Mariners starts. It was incredible.
So a lot
Great
of confidence moving
on,
forward.
On Bryce Miller.
So maybe
too.
we bet on Bryce Miller going, or maybe it was just his first outing.
Just a
jitters.
flash in the pan.
Not jitters.
They've never seen this guy before.
What would be the opposite of jitters? First outing. Beginner's luck.
Beginner's luck. There you go.
That would be what the opposite.
But good for him.
A great outing.
Yeah.
But not to bury the lead because I want to talk about this. This is the biggest story in sports today.
Yes.
The MVP of the NBA, Bryant, is
Nikola Jokic.
Wrong. Dadgummit.
No, Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid.
But a lot of people thought it would be Jokic throughout the season.
It kind of came down to those two, and I want to throw Giannis in there as well.
It always seems to come down to
the last few years. It has the three top vote getters in the MVP the last 3 years, none of which have been American. That I think is an important factor in all of this.
That is a good point.
I thought Embiid should have won it. I think you could make an argument Embiid should have won one of the two that Jokic already had. What were your thoughts on Embiid winning it, Brian? Or do you not have strong opinions about who the MVP is?
I mean, I think both him and Nikola Jokic both had great seasons. And like I said, it kind of seems like it's always back and forth between those two. But I think what Jokic did what Embiid did this year for the 76ers, he was huge for them. Like he really always has, but really stepped up big this year. And so I thought that's kind of what gave him the edge. I think a lot of people, I've heard some people say, not since he's won it, but kind of leading up to the pick, that it was going to be voters' fatigue with Nikola Jokic, and that we're getting.
My microphone has to be on to say something. Jokic lovers love to tout that it's fatigue.
It's fatigue.
Look
He's
at the box score.
Times. Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of how we all do analysis, even here locally. If we watch a Grizzlies, I don't want to say we. Let me change that. If people watch a Grizzlies game,
correct,
here locally, even if they saw the game, saw the whole thing, they will still judge it and draw conclusions based upon the box score.
Right.
They could see all this stuff happen. The box score is still going to inform the way they think about the game. Right? It's not going to be a combination of watching it and the box score. It's generally going to be what the box score said. They were watching the score change, and now the box score tells me what I think, sort of thing. And I feel like that's kind of how we vote on the MVP, too. Yeah. Because I don't think Embiid had – I think he had marginally a better season, but I would say for the most part pretty consistent with what he's done the last 2 years.
Well, yes, but he was better this year. I mean, if you look at the numbers – averaged more points, shot a better percentage.
Yeah, but it's marginal, right? It's not much at all.
It's only a couple points. He did go up from 49% to 55% from the field, which is pretty good. And
seems to be taking less jump shots too.
Yes, but
which has been a slow decline for him over the past, I would say, 3 seasons. Yeah. He's been moving more towards the pinch post and block every possession, less top of the key opportunities for him. But so you would agree? I could say it's a marginally better season, I guess.
And I would
say Jokic has kind of been the same consistent as he has been the last 3 years. Maybe a little bit worse numbers because his team has been overall healthier this season, which leans less on him. And like I said, a lot of his shot opportunities are him taking like 5, 7, 9, 11 shots in a game. Yeah. Whereas the last 4 he's taking like 25, 30 shots in a game. The point I'm trying to make here is that I think this is not so much fatigue maybe it could be fatigue, as it is maybe people recognize Embiid deserved one of those in the past. And really, if we're waiting for Embiid to step up in the assist column so he can compare to Jokic, we're going to give the MVP to Jokic every year. That shouldn't be how it's done.
It's still crazy. I didn't realize Embiid averaged more than 4 assists per game.
Oh, I mean, he's still they run the offense through him, certainly. Right. Whereas when Harden got there last year, it was a lot of Harden dribbling. It's still a lot of Harden dribbling. But it's become a lot less of that. And they've had to figure out how to use Tyrese Maxey along with James Harden in that way, how they stagger them, although Maxey has kind of been more comfortable at this point, it seems like, playing alongside James Harden, certainly more so than he was early in the year when Melton was starting for them. But I have no quarrels with Embiid winning MVP. In fact, I believe he deserved it. I believe he deserved one of the last 2 that Jokic has won. Not a whole lot of discourse about Giannis not winning it, outside of maybe Milwaukee and Giannis himself believing he should have won it.
But,
what are your thoughts on that?
That's going to be every year, I think. Any player
there's
that's
only
one
up
award. There, there's only one award. But like you said, I liked what you said about if we're waiting for Embiid to
that's what it's
surpass.
Been. Yeah. Because that's been the defense of Jokic winning the last 2.
Right.
Is Jokic, 2 MVPs is a lot.
It's a lot.
It's like winning 2 major championships versus 1. That's a lot. Is Jokic marginally – no, that's not the right word. Is Jokic significantly a better player when we look back at history than Giannis and Embiid? Should the number of MVPs the guy wins be that much more impressive than Embiid and Giannis? And I say no. And I think that's a good reason to not just look at box scores when you're voting for this stuff.
I think even if you are doing it like that and you're kind of when is it going to be? Like, he's been, if you're just looking statistically, he's been better this year, even if it is just slightly. He's been better this year than last year, the year before. He's made those improvements.
He's made improvement, and he maybe, I don't know how many other people would say this, especially fans. He's made improvements, and he probably should have won one of the 2 Jokic has already won. This is the time to give it to Embiid.
Exactly.
No, I would agree with that, too. And if you just look head-to-head, Embiid gave him 40-something. I mean, he gave him 40-something head-to-head. That's enough for me to give it to Embiid himself. Dave Woloshin on Wolo and Friends this morning made the good point. I thought that the language always confuses people when they vote for these awards because value is a word that has its own definition,
that's
and you could define value in different ways.
A bunch of different ways.
When really we're just voting on the best player in the league that year. And so that's always a discussion. That pretty much every MVP award in every league, that's always what we talk about.
Always
what's that value?
Well, what is it? Value. Yeah.
And like in the NFL, it's a quarterback award, all these different factors that go into it. The biggest question I have is who the hell was the guy that left Jokic out of his top 3 voting? And I thought
someone left Jokic out of top 3.
One voter didn't vote in the top 3. Worldwide Wob said that if you look at the way this stuff works, very easy to misclick. Guy could have misclicked.
Just a misclick.
You think it was a misclick?
Maybe. Saw Ja got one.
Or is it one voter saying fatigue is we should have fatigue? He doesn't.
This is crazy.
He doesn't deserve 3.
Get him out of there.
Get him out of there.
Maybe.
Could be.
Or it might just be like a, I don't know, maybe it's like a
Boston voter.
Yeah. It
that
could be.
wanted
really
to put Giannis and Embiid up there. And then you have to include Tatum.
Got to.
So that's how it goes.
So you can't get this.
So those are the hypotheses.
All East guys.
It's either somebody that believes in the fatigue, a Boston voter,
or just a misclick.
Could be a misclick. Who finished 5th? Shea? Could be an Oklahoma City voter.
Could be.
There's only 100 voters. There's no way there's one in Oklahoma.
I wonder. I saw like all the, not like who voted, but like all the how many votes people got.
Everyone gets 1. Or no, everybody. You vote for 1 through 8.
Right.
By the way, John Morant won 8th place vote.
How
about that? I mean, that we should hang our hat on that as Grizzlies
He's in the conversation.
He's in the conversation. Although these Can I say the word? I can say this word. These bastards, Bryant. These bastards that voted Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 5th. Do they think that Shai is better than Ja? Those morons.
They can't.
Are you kidding me?
I think your hypothesis is
right. Who
right.
are all these guards? Anyway, go ahead.
Your hypothesis about someone voting Jason Tatum in is the
right one, right?
The right one because he had one third-place vote. He's the only person outside of those three that had one third-place vote.
So I think it was a Boston guy.
Had to be.
Or it could be just a fatigue guy.
Maybe.
But it's not a Shai guy.
But it's not a Shai
decided it's not a Shai guy.
Because Shai only got 6 fourth-place votes and 28 fifth-place votes.
And Denver doesn't have any significant rivals, do they? So it can't be like a Phoenix,
not
like a Phoenix rider or something like that,
so,
or a Dallas rider.
When do they have to place the votes for this? Like when?
Before the season ends.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a Timberwolves media member that's like, oh, I can't believe he knocked us out of the playoffs.
But maybe they lost to the Nuggets the night before.
Maybe.
But it seems like if you lost to the team the night before, that you would be more likely to vote for them in that spot.
Or what if you saw him like one game, he was terrible. You're like, this guy's not an MVP, and you just
like when he played Embiid.
Yeah.
Oh, a Philly voter
guy.
That's a new spin.
I think it might have been DeMichael we were talking to, and we asked him about the rest of the NBA playoffs, and he was like, I'll be honest, during the season, I can't watch much basketball outside of Grizzly games because it's so back and forth. So maybe like a Philly guy, they just see him once against MVP. This guy's not an MVP anymore.
That's actually such a good point that you bring up that DeMichael brought up, but that you brought up that DeMichael brought up. It's such a great point because that's how all these awards are voted for.
Yeah.
It's all, man, I've watched the team that I cover. I haven't had time to watch everybody.
Yeah.
Let's look at the box scores.
Exactly.
Who leads the league in blocks?
Yeah.
Jaren, Defensive Player of the Year. Who has the best? Well, I look at Jokic stats versus Embiid stats. This guy's getting triple-double every night. Embiid ain't passing like that.
Right.
I'm going to give the MVP to Jokic the last 2 years. It's a great point. It really is. It's a real factor in how these things are voted for. I don't think anyone cares about that necessarily. It's not part of the rhetoric that goes into it.
It's not the conversation.
It doesn't matter. And these awards largely don't matter either. But that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
And, so Embiid won MVP.
Good for Embiid.
And one guy left Jokic off the list. And one person voted for John Morant. We have a lot of NBA to talk about. We got to talk about the playoffs later.
Some great games last night.
Brian and I talked about the Dillon Brooks stuff yesterday on this show. Might have to talk about that again just because the more I hear other people talk about it,
the more frustrated you get.
I get more fired up and I have more thoughts about it. Not so much about the situation itself, but about the way people talk about it.
My buddy texted me last night asking who the Grizzlies were going to get and had like 5 names that I guess someone else had told him. He's like, we're getting one of these guys because we got rid of Dillon.
Those are my 2 favorites.
I was like, that's not how it works.
Who are the Grizzlies going to get? And then where is Dillon going to go?
Yeah.
The most popular option that I saw
Shanghai
from Grizzlies
Sharks
fans last night was just naming terrible teams.
Yes.
Well, he's going to go be the guy for the Rockets. He's going to go to Detroit.
Right.
They could use a guy like him. They need that veteran leadership.
That's right.
What are we talking about? This guy's a piece on a championship level team. Ridiculous. Back after this.
Listen in for the Showboat Showcase on Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Greg and Eli will talk with guests from the Memphis Showboats and give you a chance to win tickets to upcoming games.
When I say hot wings, the first flavor that pops into your head is buffalo, right? Well, let the Crazy Coop open your mind and awaken your taste buds to a huge variety of crazy chicken wing flavors, like Buffalo Ranch, a perfect combo of ranch with just a little kick, Mango Habanero, the sweet taste of mango that's followed by the heat, or Sweet Maple Bourbon, the taste is going to remind you of chicken and waffles. Now, that's just 3 of the 27 chicken wing seasons that you can get at the Crazy Coop. Now, you can try those 3 seasonings in a lunch special on 3 whole wings or 6 party wings with a regular fry and drink for just $9.99 at the Crazy Coop, 7199 Stage Road in Bartlett, and now open the Crazy Coop Express at 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Now, some do like it hot, and if you're one, then try the Crazy Sweet Lemon Pepper Hot or the Crazy Suicide. But if you've got a more subdued palate, then try the 4 cheese, roasted garlic, or barbecue bacon. You want the sauces and seasonings without the chicken? Okay. Family owned and operated, the Crazy Coop. You'd be crazy not to visit the Coop.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
It's the final days to shop Spring Black Friday at the Home Depot to get your kitchen clicking. With top brand appliances from Frigidaire, like a new refrigerator with sealed crisper drawers to keep your produce fresher longer. Or a dishwasher with its unique blade spray arm for better water coverage that reaches every corner. Plus, with convenient shopping in-store and online at the Home Depot, your innovative new appliances are just a click away, too. Final days to save up to $500 on select Frigidaire kitchen appliances during Spring Black Friday at the Home Depot ends May 3rd.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commissions, sales leads, and a great place to work. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flinn.com. Start your career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Upgrade your commute at Acura of Memphis. Seize the thrill and test drive one of our award-winning models, each packed with cutting-edge technology, luxurious amenities, and a driving experience that's sure to awaken your inner self. Driving shouldn't be a chore, it should be an adventure. Advance your drive today, shop our aggressive lease and finance options now. Luxury is waiting at Acura of Memphis, or shop online 24/7. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
All the wisdom of the universe is in these bones.
Now back to Sports 56 Happy Hour on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Johnny Radio.
Do you ever get caught in the For You section of Twitter when you think you're in the following section?
I only stay in the For You part of Twitter.
You only stay in the For You. I only stay in the following. I don't want to see For You crap.
The following also, like, they'll get in your For You feed.
Yeah, but the For You, I don't want to see crap I don't follow. For instance, I just saw some stuff about people talking about how if the Grizzlies move on from Tyus Jones, they should go after Derrick Rose.
Oh,
come back
D-Rose,
to the M, you know, veteran presence.
Oh, wow.
Wow, what an idea.
What an
idea.
So, I mean,
nobody has a better finger on the pulse of the NBA roster moves than
TikTok.
Grizzlies Twitter.
TikTok.
No, Twitter.
I thought this was on TikTok.
No, Twitter.
Oh, I thought we were talking about TikTok.
No. When I say Twitter, I generally mean Twitter.
I thought you said TikTok.
Let's start with T, though, Brian.
That's true. That's probably what, some of that recognition.
So do you want to amend what you said about always staying in the For You section?
No, I still always stay in the For You section of Twitter.
That's great.
But you said Will Barton the other day is a free agent this year.
Yeah.
Another guy that can replace him with
get both
reunion.
of them.
Get both of them.
I think that's what's great about moving on with
the
Dylan
Memphis
Brooks.
Grizzly Tigers.
Is you get both those guys for the same price as Dylan Brooks.
Right.
And I think you get marginal. I mean, no. I keep using the word marginally. I think you get discernibly better.
Who was it? I think it was maybe Ramona Shelburne last night that tweeted and said that he was asking for $25 million a year.
Who was?
Dylan.
That's what he's going to go for.
And but that's the main reason the Grizzlies decided to. At least she's saying that's the main reason.
I believe it. That's what I would have assumed too. Is it's all financial. Mm-hmm. Whereas, okay, I guess we're going to talk about this here.
I'm sorry.
No, I think it's a good topic to talk about. I brought up that stuff. I would have thought it was financial, right? Because he's going to go for over $20 million, and teams are going to line up to pay him because
he's a veteran player that plays great defense and can score the ball.
There's every team competing for a championship could use what he does on their team. So many teams could do that. That's what they're looking for is wing perimeter defenders that can guard multiple positions. It's what everybody's looking for. And obviously there's a disconnect in certain terms with the Grizzlies, but financial has to be the largest aspect.
Got it.
And it's an aspect I just don't pay attention to.
Right.
Because my idea is I want as many good players on the floor as I possibly can.
However you got to get them, get them.
But to cite all of these external factors like things he's saying or like his attitude or him wanting to be a wrestling character, that's bullcrap, man. It doesn't have any. If you honestly believe that an NBA front office is making decisions based upon these external factors like that, you're living in a crazy house, man. Like, do you think that the general manager and the people in the front office are fans just like you? It's ridiculous. That's just not how people make decisions. If he can contribute to the basketball team, they're going to sign him.
Yes.
That's just the end of story.
Yes.
All this external stuff is ridiculous. So I don't understand all these things people are citing. They just don't matter. And so at that point, you're left citing what? Well, what about on the floor? He was missing shots.
Yes.
By the way, that the damn head coach of the damn team has said publicly he told him to take those shots. So what are you mad at Dylan for? It's just this fabricated narrative that everybody is in agreement on throughout the city, and for that reason it's true, because we all agree. And I'm the one voice sitting here saying, you guys are out of your damn minds. And quite frankly, I'm the one that's right. I just being honest about it. I don't. You don't have to believe me if you don't want to.
Talk your ish.
But I'm telling you right now, it's ridiculous. So let's go on to the other factors I wrote down for the story. That was really the last one I wanted to get to. When it comes to the story itself, going to Shams Charania, do you care who leaked it? You personally?
I really don't.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people, I think, would have been in agreement on that.
But it seems like that was like a big who leaked it? Who leaked? Like that was a big thing on Twitter yesterday.
Whenever I see Woj or Shams tweet anything, I immediately wonder who gave that to him and what's their angle.
Yes.
That's always what I think.
Yes.
So just because it happened with the Grizzlies, I'm not just questioning that because it's the Grizzlies. I always question that.
Oh, yeah.
Because these guys aren't traditional beat writer reporters.
Right. Someone is texting them, hey, this is what's happening, tweet it out.
This interaction between Shams and Woj and whoever their sources are, whether in the program or agent's office or whatever, it's transactional. You scratch my back, I scratch yours.
They're never trying to build a story or anything.
I get notoriety from being the first one to report this stuff, and I can also help you get messages that you want to send out. I can help get those across.
Yes.
It's a very transactional situation there. So that's why I care. But I think you, Bryant, are in tune with most fans is people don't care who said it. In fact, they don't care so much, they're willing to 100% believe that their favorite NBA franchise operates on the up and up, and they would not discredit one of their former players that way. So not only do people not care, they're going to believe whatever they want to believe to begin with. So that's one aspect of the story that I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
And I want to know exactly who said it for a bunch of different reasons. But I think you're on the right track there is people don't agree. In fact, I saw people that talk in the media across the city say, who cares who said it? What difference does that make to me who said it?
Yeah.
But when I start seeing...
But I also see other media people that are like...
I care a lot.
Yes, but I think you care a lot in
I care a lot in baseball, I care a lot in football, and I care a lot in basketball.
But so here's the thing. I've seen it almost split, I think, in terms of how media is approaching of if they care or if they don't care of who released it. But I think the way you are going about it is different in how they're going about it. Because because I think you're in a grand aspect of it. Like,
it's important to know who's saying this stuff.
But yours is more of like, I know that this is how this works, and I'm just curious about it for everything. It's not just because it's the Grizzlies. All the other people I see, it's like very Grizzly-centric of like, so-and-so released this information for this reason or
I think
this reason.
But that's how I think that's how fans should think about this stuff.
Yeah.
Shams, God bless him, and Woj, I'm not going to say God bless him because I think he's a terrible guy. We should not just take what these guys say for what it is on the face because of the way that they operate. Their entire business structure operates. The way that they make money is all – it's not – I've stumbled upon this information. I have an obligation to tell the public. It's very everything is coded with. There's a reason why somebody gave them that information, and I want to know what that is. Whether it's the Grizzlies side, which it would never be the Grizzlies because they are a bunch of upstanding individuals that always operate on the up and up, and if it is Dylan Brooks and his agent, why the hell? What do you gain from? You don't gain anything from that.
That's why
there's no way. There is no chance on God's green earth Dylan Brooks' camp leaked this to Shams.
Why would you?
He gains nothing from it. In fact, he's costing himself money on the open market.
Yes.
What, are you trying to defame the organization? To who? To other people around the league? To the Grizzlies fans? Because Grizzlies fans are not going to take his side. We just mentioned they're blindly going to just make their own narratives about how my franchise operates on the up and up.
Well, that and it's almost making himself look bad because of the wording of it. They're not going to bring him back under any circumstances. Well, that would
why would Dylan say that?
Exactly. That would tend to believe that the Grizzlies didn't want him back for a particular reason. So to other teams, that's going to be like, what's that reason? Why don't they want him back? There's got to be something wrong with this guy.
Totally agree.
Baggage, yada, yada, yada. So I don't think there's any way that it was him that released it.
Just operating blind. I think everything around Dylan Brooks, whether it be missing three-pointers in a game or saying things in a locker room and in front of a microphone after a basketball game, or this report from Shams, it's all everyone's opinion is all confirmation bias.
Yes.
They already have their opinion about Dylan Brooks.
And they had it 2 weeks ago.
They had it last season, Bryant.
Yeah.
And so they're just going with whatever I already thought about Dylan Brooks. It confirms everything I already thought.
Yep.
So you're going to ignore anything positive he does, which, by the way, I mean, nothing like a casual basketball fan to notice a person's prowess on the defensive end. I mean, that is something that I know. I go to games with my mom and dad. God bless them. They're great people. They watch a lot of basketball. They never comment about the ball going in the basket. All they want to comment on is, wow, look at the off-ball defense that guy's playing. Wow, look at the on-ball defense. That's just the thing that basketball fans watch, Bryant.
That's right.
And so it totally makes sense that people would have these opinions about Dylan Brooks.
It's all about the schemes. Never about the shot making.
Yeah, so I think it's all confirmation bias.
I think so.
Going back to the thing I started with that you kind of got me on with this specific topic is why does it matter what the guy says? Mm-hmm. What does it matter what he said about LeBron in the locker room?
Yeah.
Why the hell do you care?
See, it's weird to me, and I get it. Two completely different players, two completely different reasons, but like. You don't see, and it's because he's won a championship, but you don't see Draymond, who does like the same exact thing. It's like two completely different sides. Everyone loves Draymond.
I don't think they do.
Everyone hates Dylan.
I don't think
everyone in Golden State loves Draymond.
Oh, you're saying the fan base?
Their fan base.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Draymond. Everyone hates Dylan, it seems like, here, locally. I shouldn't say everybody, but a good portion.
Yeah, I don't get it.
And also, if it's the off-the-court stuff, wouldn't you say that Ja Morant's off-the-court stuff was a bigger hindrance, distraction to the team than Dylan Brooks talking about LeBron James?
More than fair. I went out of my way to not cite that in all of my notes because I think that all of that stuff is overblown.
No,
and
I agree.
Ridiculous.
I agree, but still,
it's just not the way I operate when I'm assessing what I'm seeing on the floor.
Exactly. But if you're going to say this is Dylan's bad, Dylan doesn't need to be on this team because of the off-the-court stuff.
He's selfish.
Exactly.
He's instigating LeBron James in the locker room.
You can't say that and then be like, oh, Ja's the heartbeat of this team.
I agree.
Because this front office, if they handled Ja Morant that way and handled Dylan this way, and you think it's both for off-the-court reasons, that just doesn't make any sense.
I agree. But I think people that do that would have a defense for why they do that. And so that's why I kind of wanted to avoid that. Instead, what I would say is when you cite all of these off-the-court bull crap things that actually don't translate to the basketball court at all. For instance, let's just talk about the inherent ridiculousness that Dillon Brooks talking about LeBron James in a locker room after a game somehow made LeBron James play better. It somehow affected the Grizzlies winning the next game. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And I think the reason why that stuff is so universally accepted across the market is because it helps people that have no idea what they're talking about make sense of things they're watching. Not to say they don't like basketball, not to say they don't know basketball on a simple level, but it's because they don't understand how complex the game is on both ends of the floor, how intricate defensive and offensive schemes are, everything about it, and it helps you create narratives to make sense of things you otherwise don't understand. And I realize I'm calling everybody stupid, or not stupid, ignorant. It's okay, though. It's okay to not know it at an intricate level like that, but then don't have these grandiose opinions about why Dillon Brooks is the problem on this team. I think that's where the scapegoat narrative came from the national media yesterday, is because of the fan base's narrative. They're making him the scapegoat. I don't think the organization necessarily. If they reported that to Shams, then they kind of did make him the scapegoat. Yeah. But that narrative didn't come from that tweet.
Right.
That was already on the table, is that he was the scapegoat. Yes. And I think it goes back to what I just said. People trying to make sense of things they don't understand. So you have to create these narratives based on things you see to explain what you don't understand already. Right. That's the way I see it, at least. And so if you're going to cite all of these off-court concerns, I think I can dismiss all of them.
Yeah.
And so what you're left with is citing his three-point percentage. You're citing him missing shots that he was told to take, or you're just making stuff up. And I think all of that is doing a discredit to what he did to the franchise. I don't understand why one side has to be right and one side has to be wrong. In fact, I think they'll both be fine. Both sides.
Yeah.
I think Dillon's going to go someplace where he's going to contribute at a high level. Maybe he'll keep talking. Maybe that fan base will hate him too. I don't know. What I do know is that he will be a high-level contributor if he goes to a good team on a championship team. Yeah. And if he goes to a bad team, well, hell, he's going to be a high-level contributor on that team too. Right. But there's definitely a lot of teams that are going to pay him money to be super valuable for a championship-level team, I'm sure. And I think the Grizzlies are going to be fine. Dillon Brooks does not make or break their success either.
And maybe it was time to move on.
Maybe it was.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a great point, Bryant. Everyone's crushing Dillon Brooks for saying that they didn't put him in the right situation to score. He's right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why you think he's wrong. He knows his skill set.
Yeah.
He knows what he's good at. Everyone's criticizing him for missing three-pointers, and he said, I am not a catch-and-shoot three-point player.
Right. He's not.
He's not.
He's not.
Everyone's criticizing him for not being that. He was told to shoot those shots.
Right.
You put him in a better situation on offense, he's going to score more. He's going to shoot a higher percentage. You all would keep citing Bryant. He took less shots this year than he has in the past.
Yeah.
He took more threes and less twos, and his percentage was lower.
Yes.
You think he chose to take less shots he likes to take?
No.
Or do you think someone told him to do that?
Someone told him.
Exactly. So, like you said, maybe it was time for him to just move on. But the idea that this guy's a universal scapegoat, totally, to me, when I hear that, it says to me that you have no idea what you were watching when you were watching the Grizzlies season. Because I don't think the Grizzlies are going to be in peril because they lost Dillon Brooks.
No.
But the idea that this guy wasn't a significant contributor to your team and a significant contributor why you were the 2 seed in the Western Conference is totally ignorant, and you're just ignoring every contribution he made to the Grizzlies franchise. Back after this.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on eating out, fuel costs, and replacing expensive grills that cannot stand up to the Big Green Egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with cook temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
To every woman with a will and a workbench, every mom with a miter saw she's not afraid to use, every daughter with a drill and the drive, to the women who get their nail guns together, the ones who are welding the gap, the same ones who DIY like no one's watching. At the Home Depot, we see the potential in you because you see the potential in everything. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Come on, let's get nuts.
Now, back to Sports 56 Happy Hour on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Johnny Radio.
Ronald Acuna, National League Player of the Month.
Good for him.
MVP of the season ended right now.
That's right. But we're only
literally, because there's only been 1 month.
That's right.
Wow. I didn't realize just how useless that statement was until I really thought about what I said.
Well, it was almost
there's only played 1 month of baseball.
It was almost as useless as the ESPN article yesterday that was the mid-season team grades after 1 month.
No, first half.
First half,
and that was 2 days ago.
That was 2 days ago.
Very important. Was that that was
ESPN Plus article.
Oh, that's right, ESPN Plus article. Not that, are we in violation of some rule because people have to pay usually for that kind of information?
It's a stupid article.
Although we didn't look through the article, we just saw the headline, which
of it.
Anybody that doesn't subscribe could see the headline themselves. Also, ESPN went through today and they went through all the NBA teams in the playoffs. and asked after the first round who's the MVP of the playoffs, and it was unanimous.
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Unanimous Jimmy Butler. But the NBA is not the only playoffs going on right now. In fact, there were 2 Stanley Cup playoff games last night, both game ones of their respective series. The first one was in Toronto between the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. The Panthers got off to an early score, Bryant, and never looked back.
Never looked back.
Won on the road last night. What do you think?
Huge for them. Who'd they beat in the first round? Florida. Oh, they beat Boston.
Yeah.
So it was huge to kind of keep that rolling. I don't have any faith.
You're a Western Conference guy.
I'm a Western Conference
You're just not. You're like the American League with me. I can name all these American League guys that are hitting top in the league. Haven't heard of half of them. It's kind of like you don't even remember who the Eastern Conference teams played.
But I don't have any faith in Toronto.
Did you watch any of that game?
I did not see any of that game. No.
I watched it.
Because you're a Miami guy.
Well, I like the Rays. I see. My first foray into the National Hockey League was with the Florida Panthers.
Right.
But then I just fell in love with the Rangers, and I haven't watched as much of the Panthers. I still like the Panthers fine, but I'm a Rangers guy through and through. But I am cheering for the Panthers in this series, and it was a good start for them. They look really good. Bobrovsky had 34 saves in the game, and 95% save percentage in that game. Matthew Tkachuk looked great, who was an addition they made last offseason to make themselves more playoff heavy. Trading away one of the favorite players. And Sam Bennett, also former Calgary Flame, he had a goal last night and an assist, 2 points in that one. So a really good performance of the Panthers. They will play Game 2
tomorrow.
I believe Thursday. Yeah, today's Wednesday, so Thursday. The second game, though, Bryant, was a big one for your favorite team, the Seattle Kraken. They're playing the Stars in the second round.
Dallas.
This one is in Dallas. It was an overtime game, was it not?
It was.
Care to expand on that?
Wait, it went to overtime. That was your question, wasn't it?
It was, but I was just laying it out for you to talk about it.
Oh, I got you.
4 goals in the first period for the Kraken.
4 goals in the
and they didn't score.
Went down 1-0 to start the game. I was actually listening to it on the radio, going to get dinner, and drove by Slim Chickens in Collierville. You ever been to Slim Chickens in Collierville?
I have.
They have a patio up front. And they've got a big television on the patio. When I was driving by,
I watched the inaugural Kraken NHL draft at Slim Chickens in Collierville.
Really?
Anyway,
what a draft
going.
that was. They went around the city. They were throwing fish with the name on it and everything.
That's right.
It was great draft. I was at Panera during that draft.
Wow. How were their TVs?
I was watching on my computer.
Oh, okay.
But I driving by, television's on. Justin Schultz fires in the first goal of the day and made it 1-1. But then they went up 2-1, and then the Kraken scored like 3 goals.
We're at Sports Center. I thought you might have thoughts on what was going on.
Well, let me get there.
I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
You started this.
I did.
Kraken scored like 3 goals in a 2-minute span. It was incredible.
They did.
And then I don't know who this number 16 is for the Dallas Stars.
Pavelski.
He scored 4 goals by himself.
4 goals, yeah.
He was the only guy scoring goals. But yeah, the Kraken kind of turned it off after the first period, and then in overtime, shot goes in, a couple rebounds, and then your favorite player, Yanni Gourde, somehow just flicks it around and throws it in the net. It was fantastic. A great start, though, because the Kraken have struggled against Dallas this season. I've been very worried going into this season because they've all been close games, but it seems like the Kraken can never really crack the Dallas Stars. Pun intended.
I will say this, too. I was kind of just having some fun with you because I heard people saying that the Kraken got really lucky to win Game 7 of the last series.
They did.
I said that I would say that this game, I haven't heard the same discourse around it, is a very lucky win for the Kraken, too, with the overtime goal. Just looking through the box score of the game, all of the Dallas offensive players finished like +2, +3 for the game. And all of the Kraken players finished net minus, which the plus-minus in hockey is just goals for or against while you were on the ice, which is not a great metric to go by, but you can kind of see the flow of the game that way. And very rarely do you see a team win a game where their entire roster pretty much is minus, and the other team's entire roster is plus. That was what happened last night.
Dallas scored their last 2 goals to tie it in the third period.
In the third period, that's right.
So it was
a scoreless second.
It was a scoreless second. So it was scary. It was in Grubauer, the goalie for the Kraken. He used to be a Colorado Avalanche. So a lot of people thought that was his revenge series. He was getting back at him, literally standing on his head. And I didn't think we would get the same from him in game one, but he was fine. 4 goals, but he was good.
I love the phrase "standing on his head" when a goalie's playing well. It's
fantastic.
It's a great phrase.
Do you picture it in your head of a goalie actually standing on their head? I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Maybe our radio audience thinks about that as well when they hear standing on their head, because we don't have a huge hockey contingent here, but it's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
It's huge.
And if we can't talk about it the last segment of an hour, when can we talk about it, Brian? I mean, I feel like it's inappropriate.
It's great. Tonight,
Pavelski, by the way, oldest player in NHL history to score 4 goals in a playoff game. He's 38, 39 years old,
and
something like that.
2 of them were up in the air, and he had to tip in with his stick.
Unbelievable.
So great game for him. Your New Jersey Devils, the team that beat your New York Rangers, they fire off tonight.
Against the Canes, and the Hurricanes were a really good team last season. They were really good this year, too. They won 50 games again this year, I think, too.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised, because I guess if you have a professional team in your market, you're going to root for them. I was surprised last year watching their home games of just like how many people.
The Canes or the Devils?
The Canes. How many people would show up for those games? It'd be like a packed arena, and then there'd be like another couple thousand people outside.
Especially with basketball in the same town.
Yeah.
Something
and
else.
football.
Yeah, but that's not the same season is what I mean.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah. But I mean...
The Hornets ain't in the playoffs.
I was about to say.
The Canes are, though.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a good contention of Predators fans, too, isn't there?
Yeah. That's why I said I guess if you have a team in your market, then it's different than watching it from afar.
So you got Devils, Canes tonight. The Carolina Hurricanes are favored in that game tonight. And then you have the Oilers and Golden Knights. I think I'm going to take a little flyer on the Oilers price to win the series itself.
I think so.
Getting close to an even price on that.
It's a good team. They scared me in that first round, though.
The Golden Knights, though, had a better season than the Oilers. They're a home team in this first game.
Wow.
And they're underdogs in it as well. Interesting factor that we're going to have to watch for. Well, that'll do it for hockey talk, Bryant.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk tomorrow again for a little segment, but you won't be as passionately.
No, I won't.
You won't be as passionate about those games.
I probably won't watch any hockey.
You didn't even watch the Panthers game.
I'll have to watch the Edmonton game tonight.
You have to watch the West.
Well,
because you're a Western.
Connor's an Edmonton fan.
Your brother.
So my brother.
I thought it was because you just watched Western Conference teams.
I like the Devils.
I think you should change the narrative.
Jack Hughes is a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
He's a rock star.
Yeah, you can name a second Devil player too, can't you?
PK Subban.
No, PK Subban.
He's in the booth now. But he used to be a Devil.
Booth. He also used to be a Predator.
Jack Hughes' brother's is a
McKenzie. Isn't that his name?
I don't know. He's young, but
I'm pretty sure it's
also,
Mackenzie Hughes.
Yeah, he's also a Devil.
Or Mackenzie Hughes might be a golfer. We're going to look it up, and we're going to be back on the other side talking about something else.
Corky's Barbecue.
Hi, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. We have been helping Memphians with their celebrations for more than 38 years. Whether you're picking up one of our party packs to serve yourself or booking one of our private dining rooms at our Cordova location or our Olive Branch location, Corky's has you covered. We make it easy for you to impress your guests for company parties, sports banquets, or reunions. Corky's has been trusted year after year for all of your party needs. Call today and reserve your private party room before your date is booked.
Flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text STAPLE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text STAPLE to 321-321. That's STAPLE to 321-321.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. It looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Everyone needs protection, whether you're on the field or on the road, so make sure you have the best. Bob Simpson State Farm Insurance can buckle you up with auto insurance, can back you up with life and health insurance, cover your business whether it's starting, growing, or maturing, and don't forget to insure your home, no matter if you're an owner or a renter. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call Bob Simpson today at 901-381-1233 or go online and get a free quote at bobsimpson.org. Stay protected with your good neighbor, Bob Simpson.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You could just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
But you gotta be willing to take the hit and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Now, back to Sports 56 Happy Hour on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Tito's Vodka. Here once again, Johnny Radio.
Moe's Southwestern Grill is catering up here today.
Fine establishment.
You love it. You go there all the time.
Well,
and
my girlfriend
I'm hungry.
loves Moe's.
And you and I aren't eating it right now,
right?
Because we have to talk on the radio,
stuff, yeah.
and we feel like it would be rude to talk to you fine folks
stuffing our
over
faces.
the airways with food in our mouths.
Right.
But if one of us, if you just hear one of us rambling on for a while, it's because the other one went to go get food.
Right.
We're going to take turns there.
Yeah.
I hope there's still food for us when we get done.
There should be.
You think?
I heard they got a lot.
Will it be cold?
Oh, there's the microwave.
There's a microwave.
Gordon
and
Ramsay
a lot of
doesn't
times
like people microwaving food, but I have no problem with it.
Who doesn't?
Gordon Ramsay, the chef.
Yeah, a next level chef and master chef. And
I love a good Gordon Ramsay cooking show.
What's your favorite one?
Probably I like a good Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen. That was the original one, right?
Yeah.
Is OG. So you're an OG guy.
OG.
Yesterday we walked out here. The Voice was on TV.
That's right, with Niles,
right?
No, his first name's Niall. It wouldn't be a Niles with an S, would it?
I thought his first name was the guy from One Direction. You're saying? I thought his name was Niles.
No, Niall Horn.
Okay, whatever you say.
Good looking guy.
Everyone's leaving that show now. They've cycled through all these.
But now
people.
I like who they are. It's what's his face is about to leave.
Chance the Rapper's there.
Chance the Rapper's there. Niall's there, and then I don't really like Kelly Clarkson.
You don't like Kelly Clarkson?
Never really
I'm a
been
big Kelly Clarkson fan.
Really?
I like Kelly
I
Clarkson.
think she's annoying.
She's got a good show too. It's back to the old classic variety show. She sings at the beginning of it.
Really?
And she's got a great voice. I love hearing her sing.
Interesting.
Also, OG winner of
The Voice.
No.
American Idol.
American Idol.
I knew it was one
How
of those
old
shows.
do you think The Voice is?
It's not very old. That was a stupid answer.
That's okay. I want to talk about the playoffs that took place last night here. Some really good games last night, two of which one of which the Grizzlies could have been in. Two of which, what's funny?
The Redbirds game is starting, and they had a close-up shot of the Redbirds' first baseman, Lucan Baker, and they're fielding ground balls, and it hit his glove and just fell out.
Catch the ball.
Exactly.
They're playing at home, right?
Against the Jumbo Shrimp. It's about to start.
Well, about to tip off.
No.
About to kick off.
No.
About to drop the puck.
No.
First pitch.
There you go. Bingo. First time's a charm. Yeah. All right, back to the NBA playoffs. I'm sorry.
There was 2 games that went off last night, one of which the Grizzlies could have been in and are not. And the other one is in the other conference, the Eastern Conference. So which one are you going to start with, Bryant? The Lakers or the Warriors? The Lakers, Warriors, or Heat Knicks?
Let's start with Heat Knicks. That was the first game.
Because it was the first game.
That's
I
right.
like that. A good game from both sides. Kind of went back to no Jimmy Butler in the game for the Heat. Kind of went back to the old first half of the first half of Game 1 is kind of what it was a reference to with how much the Knicks dominated inside. 20 more rebounds than the Heat for a multitude of different factors, and also double the second chance opportunities. I believe they also more than doubled their second chance points.
Wow.
So a tough night for the Heat inside. No Jimmy Butler. The Heat had to junk up the defense a little bit. They played zone throughout the game, and I think that's what kept them close in this one, Bryant. Did you watch the game?
I watched a lot of it. I was surprised at how strong the Heat came out early. I think we probably should have assumed that.
Winning at half.
Yeah, winning at half and was very competitive at half, but then continued to keep the game competitive throughout. I know the line after the Jimmy Butler news, the line closed at about 10 or 10 and a half. So I think a lot of people thought this was going to be a double-digit blowout game, kind of see what similar games of what New York showed in that first round against Cleveland, where they really dominated in some of those games.
Well, if you took it before the Jimmy Butler news, you lost by a hook.
Yeah, that's
right. It was 6.5.
It was 6.5. So, wow, even if the line had stayed, you still would have lost. That's interesting. But yeah, I mean, I was impressed. Even though they lost, I was impressed with how competitive the Heat were without Jimmy Butler, just because it seems like the first round, the whole conversation around this Heat team was it's Jimmy Butler and then a whole cast of misfits almost.
Yeah, I thought that the Heat's defense in particular, they were well aware of their matchup problems when it came to the Knicks. They did get crushed on the glass, like I said, and second chance opportunities, but they won the turnover battle in a big way. That zone forced a lot of turnovers. Their points off of turnovers, 22 for the Heat, 9 for the Knicks, so they dominated in that factor. They actually shot the ball really well, too, and Caleb Martin was the leading scorer for the Heat. You're right, a lot of positives to take from that, but the Heat have got to figure out what they're going to do interior-wise, because that's 6 quarters now that they have been absolutely dominated inside, and I guess on the other side, you have to feel good that you won Game 1 with that being a factor, and you only lost Game 2 by 6 without your best player on the floor and still getting dominated inside. The fact that you can keep this series close doing that, I guess, is an important factor, too.
I mean, it's going to be hard to win a series when you're being beat up like that inside.
Mitchell Robinson gave them work inside. He didn't have a huge rebounding total, but he was big keeping Bam off the glass too. And then Isaiah Hartenstein came in, and he played actually very significant minutes, and he absolutely dominated the glass, both against Bam and Haywood Highsmith coming in off the bench there. Yeah, I don't know what the Heat are going to do on the glass. That has to just be, I guess you're just going to yield that factor, and you're just going to have to junk up defensive matchups, keep them off the glass. As long as you can keep them from scoring on the interior, I think you have a chance. And that's one thing last night that the Heat did do well. They actually won points in the paint 38-34, so you're at least keeping them from scoring on the interior.
Right.
But you're not going to win a whole lot of games. You lose by 20 on the rebounding margin. So I thought that was a big factor in the game. But for the most part, not really much to talk about there. It was just kind of back and forth.
Yeah,
a good game by both teams.
I was just about to say that. Very fun game to watch.
I would say the more interesting narratives came from the Lakers-Warriors series, and the narrative being
this game was electric.
Kevon Looney dominating Game 7 against the Kings. He's a big storyline coming into this series. How they're going to match up with Anthony Davis there. And it was pretty even on the rebounding battle. Anthony Davis had 23 rebounds, but so did Kevon Looney. It was a ton of rebounding by both those two guys. Nobody seemed to have a clear advantage, but then you also have the idea that Kevon Looney and whoever they try and guard Anthony Davis with isn't going to work. He scored 30 last night, so he got off on the boards and he got off on scoring, so that was kind of a moot point there. And then the other, do you have a comment on that before I move on to the second one?
No, continue.
The second big point, too, was at the end of the game. So the Warriors kind of looked like they were going to lose this game at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah.
The Lakers were winning a lot.
They're up by like double digits, 10 or so.
14.
Oh, wow.
And then the Warriors went on a run in no small part due to the shooting of Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
And then
Steph Curry.
The last possession, and Steph Curry. And then the last possession, but Jordan Poole made a lot of those shots in the fourth quarter.
He made like 6 threes the entire game or something like that?
Shot over 50% from the three.
Wow. Good for him. I like
and made 6 of them. You're right.
Yeah.
And then the last possession, with like 9 seconds left in the game, Jordan Poole shoots a shot 30 feet away from the rim.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the whole possession. So 1 possession left in the game. Steph comes up.
And Steph had just accounted for maybe like the last 5 or 6 points. I mean, he had knocked down a 3, maybe knocked down back-to-back threes going into it.
So LeBron misses a 3. Steph gets the rebound, brings it up the right side, double team right when he crosses half court. They throw it through, I think it was Draymond Green who was at the top of the key. They throw it through Draymond Green and swing it to Jordan Poole, who is wide open with 9 seconds left on the clock. He's 30 feet away from the rim.
Nobody around him.
He takes the shot.
Yep.
And that has been the topic of a lot of discussion, both with Jordan Poole getting punched in the face by Draymond before the season.
Correct.
There was a video from Game 7 against the Kings where Jordan Poole came to the bench and Draymond tried to dap him up and like give him a hug or say something to him, and Jordan Poole shrugs him off of him and goes to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
And then this play here and you see Steph go crazy when it happened. What do you think about Jordan Poole taking the shot before I keep going?
I'm fine with it. I mean, he's wide open. He's already made 6 threes.
He's hot as hell.
Hot. You've mounted this comeback. You've got to tie the game. Time's running down. Everybody and their mother is on Steph Curry right now, so he's not taking the shot. Draymond's not taking the shot. So who else is going to take the shot? I'm guessing
Clay.
I'm guessing Clay was on the court at the time.
He was in the corner.
He was in the corner, okay. But, I mean, you're wide open right there. You've made 6 shots. I'm completely fine with the
Wiggins
shot.
was hot from 2.
Yeah.
So it could have been Wiggins.
I'm fine with it. Completely. 100%.
I think it goes back to what we were talking about. This is why I wanted to say the Dylan Brooks thing for later. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the confirmation bias aspect. There's a lot of people that already, I guess they kind of do it whenever it's convenient. Sometimes Draymond gets the brunt of that, like it was all Draymond's fault.
Yeah.
And then other times when like Jordan Poole's sulking because he's not getting enough minutes, or some people blame Jordan Poole for that.
I understand why Draymond punched him now.
And so I think it was kind of the confirmation bias of Jordan Poole is already a scapegoat in a lot of ways.
Right.
People already, people draw a lot of assumptions that maybe his teammates don't like him either, and Jordan Poole gets a lot of that scuttlebutt.
Yeah.
So the fact that he missed this shot, and coupled with Steph Curry going crazy on the other side when he took the shot and missed it, I think it gets a lot of undue criticism. If I could criticize it though, and
please,
and I think this is what Steph was saying. Steph's getting doubled. You swing the ball to Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
He is open. 9 seconds left on the clock. I don't think the clock is a factor necessarily. I think the clock, in fact, I would say what I'm going to say makes the clock a non-factor. You had enough time. I think what Steph was upset about, the play that should have been, is Steph's double, the ball is swung.
Right.
You have 2 guys on him. If you drive hard when you're wide open, you have now created a 4-on-3 scenario where you still could get a 3. You're down 3 points, but no one's going to help and stop you because they're defending against a 3.
Right.
So you take a quick 2, you foul Schroeder anyway.
And you get another opportunity.
And then you, based on making or missing these free throws, you get another opportunity. I think that's why Steph was upset, because the basketball play in that situation, in terms of basketball sense, basketball IQ play, is to get the 2.
Get a quick
and
2.
play for another possession.
Even though it's less than 10 seconds, there's plenty of time left.
But I think a lot of people, the opinion is that was a dumb shot because Jordan Poole shouldn't take it that far away. That's what I'm hearing a lot of.
Yeah.
And coupled with Steph's reaction, it's almost like people...
That's like confirmation.
It's confirmation bias.
Right.
I believe he shouldn't have taken that.
Well, look,
I see Steph got upset. He thought it was a dumb
Yeah.
shot, too. I don't think that narrative takes place if Klay took a 30-foot shot.
Right.
People wouldn't be saying that. Even if Steph freaked out the same way when Klay took a 30-foot shot, people wouldn't be freaking out that way. And Steph probably wouldn't have freaked out if Klay took that shot because Klay has more cachet built up over time to make high basketball IQ decisions. And I think Klay probably would have done well. I say that too, but all of the Warriors' shots are bad shots.
Right.
None of them are good. They're all crackhead shots that just happen to go in at a 40+% clip. So I don't understand how you can be upset with that particular shot and not other shots. I just think this whole narrative of the Jordan Poole narrative at this point, I see a lot of similarities to the Dylan Brooks narratives in the way that people just criticize them bold-facing. But in the end, it's just really just one shot that you don't want to go down 1-0 at home.
Yeah.
But the Warriors did go down 2-0 in their last series. Granted, those games were in Sacramento. Tough game nonetheless there with the Jordan Poole narrative.
Yeah.
That's what everyone's talking about today, though, too, isn't it? Jordan Poole?
Yo, absolutely. But my thing is your point is great. Like, I didn't even think about that, but you're absolutely right about it's in that position. There's plenty. I mean, I knew there. My problem was
forget the players on the court. The play there is drive hard. You have a 4-on-3.
But my problem was always it's not like I get there was time left. But
he also just hit 6 threes.
Exactly.
So how are we going to get on a guy that has brought you back in? He is a huge part of why you even are down 3 points in the fourth quarter. He's just on a burner making shots. Why wouldn't he shoot it?
And that's my problem is because there's not a lot of people, like you said, when you look on Twitter, when you look at how people are talking about it, it's not the schematic way of, well, that's not the play you should be running.
He's 30 feet from the basket. What's he doing?
Problem is because it's such hindsight of if he had made that shot, it would have been front page, top of SportsCenter. Everyone would be like, wow,
how did
Jordan
the Warriors
Poole
get a bench player of this caliber to shoot the same way as Klay and Steph?
The fact that he missed the shot, and then it's a bad shot. And I hate it happens all the time where there's a shot like that, and it either goes one or two ways, and I hate when it goes the wrong way because it's always people just want to hammer on the person. And it's like if that shot had been made, nobody would have been either nobody would have been talking about him or everyone would have been talking about him positively. It would have been Jordan Poole willed them to a victory.
And then it's Jordan Poole is a big factor
That's
in
another
that, too.
factor,
Like I said, I think if Klay took that shot, I wish Klay would have taken it. I would have loved to have heard. I mean, there's no way to live in both universes.
Right.
But I wish we could, simultaneously exist in two universes. One where Jordan Poole took that shot and one where Klay took the exact same shot, and the narratives would not be the same at all. Yeah. And maybe that's fair. Maybe in the public...
I mean, he's kind of built that respect Klay has of being a shooter.
Both in the franchise and in the public forum.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not sure the criticism of Jordan Poole within the franchise, it might be what I just said about the 4-on-3 opportunity. But I do not think they're grilling Jordan Poole because he took a 30-foot shot with 10 seconds left. I don't think so either. I think it's because Steph was double-teamed.
Yes.
It's not because, and it's also not because Jordan Poole was the one that took the shot.
Yeah.
It's not, because I've also seen we got to find a way to get the ball back to Steph, or if Steph doesn't get
That's crazy.
It's got to go to Klay.
Yeah.
How is Klay not taking the shot? Jordan Poole trying to be the guy.
Right.
He's selfish, just like Dylan. He took a shot, just like Dylan. Shouldn't have taken it because he's selfish.
Yeah.
Just like projecting all this crap onto him that doesn't exist, and then you build this false narrative to explain things that you otherwise can't understand.
Yeah.
Now you see why I wanted to talk about Dylan Brooks.
Yes.
Along with this conversation
I didn't mean
No, I'm not blaming you at all. I just want to make sure I drive home the point.
Right. Of these very similar.
This stuff is not just a Grizzlies thing. I'm not just going after the Grizzlies.
It happens.
Happens throughout the NBA.
In all sports, really. I mean, it's not just an NBA
thing
either.
Very much so.
It's
but I might
just a fan thing.
I might contribute to those narratives in other sports.
I know I 100% do.
I'm seeing a lot today on New York Rangers Twitter. Their head coach is named Gerard Gallant, and he's been the head coach there for both of these seasons now, both ending in disappointment. This year losing in the first round to the Devils, who's a big rival of theirs, and last year had a chance to make it to
only a subway away.
Only a train ride away. But it is a subway. You're right, it is a subway. And they want to fire Gallant today.
Right.
So these overblown narratives of making somebody a scapegoat for a loss, especially in the playoffs, happens across sports. It's all amplified. But I think I would caution everybody to say, if you see what we're saying in the Warriors situation, right? If you can get with us saying, wow, this criticism of Jordan Poole kind of overblown. It's just one shot. It's not, he's on a burner. It's a good shot. I get what you guys are saying. but you don't see what we're coming from when it comes to the Dylan Brooks situation, I would really force you to reassess the way you look at all this stuff and kind of see your own biases when it comes to the team you're a fan of and see where you don't have those biases as it comes into the Warriors. All this stuff isn't largely important. People talk about bias all the time in political
life. Really,
People talk about bias all the time in political terms, whether it be racial or conservative or liberal, all this stuff. It exists in sports too. And it's a lot easier to see the other side's point, I think, when it comes to the sports realm than other realms. And I would beg you to do so when it comes to this situation, seeing your bias as it relates to Dylan Brooks, and maybe you can be a little more empathetic to the Jordan Poole situation. There's also a game going off tonight, Bryant.
Okay.
The Sixers and the Celtics. Joel Embiid, the MVP of the NBA, has announced he is back. Stephen A. came on TV this morning, and I thought this was an interesting point. He thinks it's a mistake to bring Embiid back. You already stole one on the road. He is banged up and not fully healthy. Take as much time as you need. You're playing with house money with Game 2 on the road. What do you think about that? Interesting idea.
I guess that's it's almost the same thing. We were talking about with Ja last series of you kind of can steal one, and if you can steal one, then maybe just rest him another game. Yeah, I kind of agree.
The difference is the Grizzlies hadn't played a road game yet when Ja was banged up.
Right.
And the Sixers have won a road game.
So I would say sit him.
I don't think that line of thinking actually takes place in reality, though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think if he's healthy, he wants to play, he's going to play.
Sure.
Although there is an argument that that's what Jimmy Butler did last night, though, with the Heat. But the Heat kind of operate under those terms as well.
Right.
And the Sixers maybe don't operate in those terms as much. Maybe Embiid wants to play after, or maybe he's just fully healthy and ready to play. Maybe all of this is a moot point for that reason itself. The Celtics, though, are 7.5-point favorites tonight. Kind of like what we talked about with Heat-Knicks, kind of assuming the Knicks were going to win because the Heat have already stolen one on the road. Do you feel that way about the Celtics? Kind of an automatic? Are you willing to lay the 7.5? That's a lot of points, Brian.
That's a lot of points. No.
I agree.
No, that's a lot of points.
It's going to be way too close of a series. It's not just, even if you think, that line is that way because everybody assumes the Celtics are going to win. So if it was lower, we'd be hammering it. 7's a lot, though, even for hammering a line. The Knicks are only 6.5-point favorites. People were hammering that line. But the Celtics are also a much better team than the Knicks. I think the Celtics win, don't cover. Bryant, one last chance for you.
I think the Celtics win and don't cover.
Wow, 2 for 2. Back after this.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
The Showboats are back in Memphis.
We can't wait to have you for the USFL.
Let's go. Get your seats now for this weekend's home game.
Here we go.
Be a part of the new era of pro football at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium as the Showboats seek to reclaim their USFL legacy. Tickets start at just $10, so bring the whole family. And don't miss the Showboats' exciting matchup.
It's a touchdown.
Buy your tickets today at theusfl.com.
Do you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes? Good news. There's a new way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. Call U.S. Tax Shield, A+ rated with the BBB. 800-391-5063 for your free consultation and let U.S. Tax Shield protect you from the IRS.
When I say hot wings, the first flavor that pops into your head is buffalo, right? Well, let the Crazy Coop open your mind and awaken your taste buds to a huge variety of crazy chicken wing flavors, like Buffalo Ranch, a perfect combo of ranch with just a little kick. Mango Habanero, the sweet taste of mango that's followed by the heat. Or Sweet Maple Bourbon, the taste is going to remind you of chicken and waffles. Now, that's just 3 of the 27 chicken wing seasons that you can get at the Crazy Coop. Now, you can try those 3 seasonings in a lunch special on 3 whole wings or 6 party wings with a regular fry and drink for just $9.99 at the Crazy Coop, 7199 Stage Road in Bartlett. And now open the Crazy Coop Express at 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Now, some do like it hot, and if you're one, then try the Crazy Sweet Lemon Pepper Hot or the Crazy Suicide. But if you've got a more subdued palate, then try the 4 cheese, roasted garlic, or barbecue bacon. You want the sauces and seasonings without the chicken? Okay. Family owned and operated, the Crazy Coop. You'd be crazy not to visit the Coop.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Now, back to Sports 56 Happy Hour on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Tito's Vodka. Here once again, Johnny Radio.
John hates this rejoin.
Why?
I think, I don't know. He just doesn't like the song, he says.
He doesn't like the other one, too.
No, that's the one.
I thought he didn't like the one with, what's the other one?
Pat Benatar?
Yeah.
No, he likes Pat Benatar.
He didn't like
He doesn't like this. Unless he said that to you privately, he doesn't like Pat Benatar. He's never said that to me or on the radio.
Huh.
Maybe he doesn't like Pat Benatar.
I don't know. I thought maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it was this one. Who knows?
I can't speak to his feelings on...
Switch it up, then.
On Pat Benatar, I don't think.
Well, he's at Jazz Fest, so maybe we'll come back with a bunch of different music.
What were we just talking about during the break about basketball? Not the prompt that we're going to talk about on Sports Time. We were talking about something else right at the break.
What is she doing?
I don't know.
Should I answer it on air? No.
I know. I don't think you should. I don't think you should describe what you meant by what is she doing.
It was my girlfriend calling me.
While you're talking on the radio.
While I'm talking on the radio. She doesn't listen.
John always gets distracted by his phone and phone calls.
Well, I brought up that Jonathan Lawson committed to Creighton, but I don't think that would be it.
It was an NBA something that we talked about right at the break. It doesn't matter. That wasn't what I want to talk about here, but I thought of a point while we were at the break that I wanted to bring up again, but I can't remember.
Well, maybe we'll come to you in a couple minutes.
Let me give it one more real deep thought.
I don't know what it could have been. I mean, we were talking Grizzlies a little bit in there. We were talking.
Oh, well, doesn't matter.
Okay.
I want to talk about Bryant television. You started watching Barry.
I did.
I think it's probably my favorite show on television right now. What did you think?
It's good. It's a really good show.
How far are you into it?
I think I'm almost done with season 1.
So Barry is a show. It's only 30-minute episodes. You can really roll through them. It's in season 4 right now. Barry is a show starring Bill Hader. It also has Henry Winkler in it, who is the Fonz. Bill Hader of Saturday Night Live fame. He's also in a bunch of movies and stuff like that. He's in It, the Stephen King novel.
Bill Hader is? Mm-hmm. What character is he?
He is one of the... I guess it's It 2. No, he was in the original It. You know, when they're adults and they come back?
I've never seen either of the movies. I want to see them, but I haven't seen
them. So It takes place in, as a retrospective, right? They're adults looking back on themselves. So he's an adult. He's one of the adults of the kids. But he's in Saturday Night Live fame, and Stefan, one of the famous skits with him. Henry Winkler also in the show. It's a really good show. He plays a contract killer that tries to get out of the game. Is that the best way to describe it?
Yeah.
Trying to get out.
He has a change of heart.
He has a change of heart. He wants to pursue acting. Yes. Henry Winkler's acting coach. It's very funny, Brian.
It's hilarious.
What do you think so far of it, outside of it being hilarious?
Very funny. You talked about it when you first brought it up, I guess Monday, and it was before I had started it, and you said it's kind of like it talks about serious topics, and it's kind of like a drama in a sense, comedy drama, but the plot and the storyline is so absurd that it's funny, and I didn't know what you meant by that. And I watched 15 minutes of the first episode and knew exactly what you meant by that, because it's the whole being a contract killer and then having a change of heart and wanting to do something else is hilarious.
Right.
And so it's very funny. There's some really good actors, I think, in it.
The juxtaposition of his two lives coming together is very funny. It's very ridiculous. Funny. It takes place in no literal reality. I just can't fathom that story happening. But it's also a hilarious angle to go about it.
Yes.
And that's what makes it funny. Because a lot of times you'll watch comedy dramas like, I'm watching Succession right now, or I'm trying to think of another one that I've watched that's very popular, one of these comedy drama shows.
Ted Lasso.
Well, yeah. Ted Lasso started out as very silly at the beginning, though. I can't think of another one off the top of my head that's super popular like this. But my point is that this is the funniest dramatic storyline that I've seen in any of these shows. Man. A lot of times, comedy dramas, shows that are built like that, will use the comedy as relief from how serious and taxing the dramatic story is. And this one isn't used that way. It's like the complete
opposite.
The writing is funny. The story itself is funny. The characters are funny, which I think goes back to the writing, but the acting is funny, and the way that they film it is funny. That kind of is built upon in seasons 3 and 4, but there's a lot of times that just the way they filmed it yields itself to comedy. There'll be something happening in the background that's kind of blurred out that is funny in and of itself. There's things happening, whether it's like they turn the camera away from the action taking place and you just hear funny dialogue of people struggling. So the way it's filmed, or like things will come into the camera and be funny. Like there was a scene I showed you the other day of it was fixated on a bunch of people just relaxing in a restaurant. And then all of a sudden a bunch of SWAT teamers come in there and just deck them while they're eating wings at their table at Dave & Buster's. So there's funny ways the camera is used as well. I'm really glad you watched it and you can speak to how much you enjoy it as well.
Have you, because I'm watching it's on HBO Max.
HBO Max.
Is it on actual HBO?
Every Sunday night at 9 o'clock. Okay. They're in season 4 right now. I believe 4 or 5 episodes of season 4 have aired.
So on HBO Max, when I'm watching them back, it wasn't in the first couple, but the past couple I've watched, they have like if you stay after the credits, there's like
behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. Have you watched those?
I've seen a few of them.
Hilarious.
Very
because
good.
It's Bill Hader and I guess the other writer.
Alec Berg is his name.
And they're just kind of like talking about like why they did certain things, and it's funny. And Bill Hader, because I don't want to give too much away, but he wants to become an actor. Did we already say that?
Yeah.
And so he's like in acting classes, and there's an acting coach, the Fonz guy, I forget his name.
Henry Winkler.
He's the guy. So Bill Hader said that when he started acting, that he was in an acting class. Or he went to an acting class for an actor, that every time he walked in the room, he made everybody in the class stand up and applaud his entrance. And so in the show, the acting coach, whenever he comes in, everyone stands up and starts laughing. He said he directly took that because he thought it was hilarious. Because he didn't understand why they were doing it. He thought it was funny. And it's so funny in the show because it's not just like one time. It's like every single time. Every single episode, there's at least like one point where he walks in and everyone stands up and starts clapping.
Henry Winkler's character in the show is hilarious.
Very
he's
funny.
Hilarious in everything he's ever been in. Truthfully, he's so good. He's so funny. Oh, he's as funny as ever in the show. I don't know the woman's name, and I apologize for that. I'm going to try and look it up while I talk about it. But the female character in the show is named Sally. And she plays in the first season at least, and so on and so forth, Barry's kind of love interest, which is Bill Hader's character is Barry. Sally is played by the actress Sarah Goldberg. And at the beginning of the show, I've heard other people say this too, and I agree. I kind of found her difficult to watch. Her character is very it's kind of like, man, I don't like her. So I don't like her.
Very.
But as she develops, in this season, in season 4, my favorite scenes in the show
involve her.
Interesting. And she is really funny. So if you're a woman that wants to watch this show, sometimes it helps to have female characters that you can root for and get behind, because there's a lot of male-dominated shows, and this show is one that is dominated by a lot of men. There's not a whole lot of redeeming female characters. Stick with it.
She's a good
You're going to end up liking her. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention NoHo Hank. Hank is the best character in the show.
He's hilarious.
He is a Chechen crime lord. He's played by actor Anthony Carrigan, who has alopecia.
Yeah.
And it just yields to the character itself is so silly and polite and funny, but also is a crime lord.
Yes.
And he just looks funny.
Like a cold-blooded killer,
and
but he's hilarious.
And he dresses really nice.
Yes.
It's very funny. I can't recommend this show enough. I just wanted to bring it up. I know I talked about it on Monday because Bryant started watching it.
I don't even like a lot of TV shows, if I'm being honest. I don't watch a lot of TV shows, and I love this show. So
it's my favorite one.
Any reason to go watch it?
I think it's my favorite show on TV, just between the comedy and if you like movies, and specifically if you like the Coen brothers. So if you like The Big Lebowski, or you like Fargo, or Raising Arizona, or Oh Brother Where Art Thou, anything like that, the filming of this show takes a lot of inspiration from that kind of thing. I think anybody that likes to laugh will really like this show as well. A couple weeks ago, Bryant and I were hosting. Well, let me talk about this first. There's another show I started watching. It's in season 2. It is critically acclaimed. I just started it yesterday. I've only finished 2 episodes, so I'm very early. Usually I like to watch like 5 or 6 before I talk about something with any sort of notoriety or anything. But this show is critically acclaimed. It's in season 2. It's on Showtime. A lot of people like it. It's very enjoyable. Not really the comedy drama. It's more of an action thriller.
Okay.
Very Lord of the Flies. It's called Yellow Jackets.
Lord of the Flies, good book.
Great book.
Yeah.
This is a lot of inspiration from Lord of the Flies, and I'm going to read the description that I found on the internet, and you can take it from there. Yellow Jackets, it's a show on Showtime, like I said. Also, if you have a Showtime subscription on Paramount Plus, you can watch it on there. Anyway, Yellow Jackets tells the narrative of a team of widely talented high school girls soccer players who survive a plane crash deep in the Ontario wilderness. The series chronicles their descent from a complicated but thriving team to warring cannibalistic clans while also tracking the lives they have attempted to piece back together in the future. It names all the actresses or wherever there. They portray their adult counterparts as they reveal the truth about their survival 25 years later. So you can kind of see the warring cannibalistic clans that they descend into. Cannibalism is a factor. Episode 1. You see them eating one of their teammates, presumably their teammates, in episode 1. It's crazy. It's absolutely
and it's like
insane.
Like a girls soccer team. Like
a high school girls soccer team. And they deal with all these different complicated, like in episode 2, so in the episode 1 ends with the plane crashing. That's already shown in the description that you get from the show before you start watching it. So you've seen the plane crashing, and right as it crashes, immediately you see the difference in these opinions, where it be like, which girls helped other girls get off the plane and not die in the plane crash? Who helped the coach? Who was the first to help the coach? One of the team managers is like, we have to put these people out of their misery. So there's so many. It's very like Lord of the Flies-esque.
Yeah, very.
But also, if all those kids in Lord of the Flies, or in this case, had survived, you see them reminiscing on the story down the stretch.
When you said plane crash, I was like, oh, this is very Lord of the Flies.
Very Lord of the Flies. It's really crazy.
Wow.
I'm too good to know if I like it, or it's critically acclaimed. 98%.
I don't think I have Showtime, though.
Critic score. Yeah, well, you can find it in other places. If you're a sleuth like I am.
You know me.
You're scared of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But it's real. It's
not in the same way Brett's scared of them. I just don't want a virus.
It's crazy, though. I mean, when I read this description of the show, I was like, I got to give it a try. And like I said, I'm only 2 episodes in, but it's just as crazy as advertised.
So you just
I would recommend it based on this description alone.
So you just saw the description and was like, I gotta check this out.
Well, no, I saw an ad on the back page of this week's Vanity Fair, and it's all these quotes from all these publications talking about how good it is. Then I went on the Rotten Tomatoes website and read everybody raving about it, and then I was like, well, let's see what it's about, and I saw this description. I was like, that is crazy.
Okay, I'm curious now, because I know you're a big TV show guy. And whenever I watch a TV show, I never it's like I'll see it somewhere, and I'm like, oh, this kind of looks interesting, and then I'll go watch it. But, you seem to, the way you just described this is, you'll go and, read what it's about before you watch it. That's almost like how I pick out books. I'm a big book reader.
You are.
I'll go on, Goodreads and, find all these, You don't like Goodreads?
No, well, I'm saying you say that. But I have on good authority that the first day you were like, maybe I should read a Stephen King book, and then you just saw on the new and noteworthy section the most recent book that Stephen King came out with, and you bought it.
I went to Goodreads, and Goodreads said it was a good book, so I read it, and it was a great book.
Generally, when people seek out I want to see a Stephen King book, they go read It or The Shining or something like
Billy
that.
Summers.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Billy Summers.
Because it just came a fantastic book.
Great book.
You're advising a.
You had read Pet Sematary though, right?
Yes, I had read Pet Sematary.
Which is a classic.
I had a
Stephen
little
King
bit
book.
of a background.
Oh, that's at least better than most.
Yeah.
No, but the only reason I did that for this show is because I am not intrinsically interested in thrilling drama programming. if I'm going to actually watch a show, especially a bad show, it needs to have a comedic angle. Like, for instance, I watch a lot of network sitcoms. Those shows
You watch the new
terrible.
How I Met Your Father. Or whatever.
Oh, that show's terrible. But that's not a network sitcom. That's on Hulu.
Right.
But that show's
But
awful.
it was a network sitcom.
How I Met Your Mother was.
Yeah,
That's
right.
a great show.
Right.
How I Met Your Father is not a good show. I also watch the new Night Court, which had its finale last night. So that's why I went to all these things to see if I should watch it. I want to know what it was about because I want to make sure it's I really want to make sure it's worth my time to watch it if it's not something I'm intrinsically interested in otherwise.
Right.
But that's it. Yellow Jackets is on Showtime. Very Lord of the Flies-esque. I recommend it in that regard, too. And the last thing I want to talk about in these last 4 minutes is a movie that's out right now that I think people could be interested in. I saw a few movies the past couple weeks in theaters. Super Mario Brothers movie was one I watched. Really good animated movie. Broke the box office record.
Somebody
animation.
Somebody posted that movie on Twitter.
It's great.
The other day.
It's really well done, especially for being an homage to a video game. The Sonic movie was also critically acclaimed, just if we're going to compare movies that are based on that. But Sonic, if you remember, have you seen the Sonic movie? It's live action. And then they have the Sonic the Hedgehog is animated.
Right.
But like Jim Carrey plays the villain in that movie. For the life of me, I can't remember the villain's name. But he plays the villain in that movie. This movie, however, is all animated, and it was very good. I recommend that if you're looking for something for the family, or if you don't, don't like dramatic movies and you're just looking for something lighthearted that's not going to make you think or nervous or anything like that.
Right.
Funny movie. Charlie Day plays Luigi, who's in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Horrible Bosses, and then Chris Pratt is Mario. So it's a popular movie with voices. And
yeah, because
Jack
that was
Black.
a big thing when they first put out the very early thing is Chris Pratt was doing a bad Italian accent.
At the beginning of the movie, there's an advertisement for their plumbing company.
Speaking of Italian accents.
At the beginning of the movie, there's an advertisement for their plumbing company, and they kind of make fun of his accent. They do an over-the-top Mario accent a little bit. So they kind of play on that a little bit. And then Jack Black as Bowser is unbelievable, too. Seth Rogen, also Donkey Kong in the movie. First two acts I loved. The last one was a little bit cheesy. But a good movie all in all. Good animated movie. The movie I really wanted to review is one I previewed a couple weeks ago called Somewhere in Queens. It stars Ray Romano. And it stars Laurie Metcalf as his wife. Laurie Metcalf in The Connors and Roseanne fame plays the mom of Sheldon Cooper in The Big Bang Theory. She's a legendary. She was in the Norm Show. I believe she was in 3 Billboards Over Ebbing, Missouri too. If you've ever seen that movie, very good actress, a legendary sitcom actress, venturing into this movie, which is a dramatic comedy movie. It's really funny movie, really good movie. The story is that Ray Romano's son is a standout high school basketball player. And first of all, the basketball in this movie, if you ever watch sports movies, like even Ted Lasso, I made a joke to my friends the other day watching Ted Lasso, is, it strikes me. These guys in Ted Lasso, they're playing in the English Premier League. All these players, though, seem to be actor size and not professional athlete size. So when you watch these movies, you're like, wow, that athletic kid is terrible. They actually went above and beyond to make the basketball in this movie really good.
Really?
It's like the actor that plays the basketball player clearly has basketball prowess, a good jump shot.
Wow.
Their opponents play well. They're running stuff. So the athletics aspect of the movie is really cool. They really do a good job of that. And the dramatic aspect is really good as well. It deals with these emotional things about a father and son bonding and his true intent and stuff like that. He starts looking at colleges to go play basketball at because he's the standout player on his high school team. He's looking at small schools. He's looking at small D1 schools, D2 schools. It's really, really good. My favorite quote in the movie is it's totally out of context, but it's just a funny line. He spent the last few nights talking his bleep off his ledge, bleep being a male extremity that is used in sexual activity. He spent the last night talking his bleep off his ledge. I thought that was a really funny line, and it stuck out to me when I was taking notes about it. But like I said, it's a beautiful story about a father and son relationship and how that evolves. And one of the central themes of the movie is Rocky II. If you've ever seen Rocky II, The Whale did this with Brendan Fraser, who just won Best Actor at the Academy Awards. That movie, the themes in that movie, it was an original story, but the themes mimic the themes of Moby Dick. If you've ever read Moby Dick or anything like that, Captain Ahab and his story about that. It's called The Whale because Brendan Fraser is morbidly obese in the movie, but it's also called The Whale because the themes mimic the themes in Moby Dick.
Interesting.
This movie does the same thing with Rocky 2, and I don't want to spoil the ending, how it all circles around at the end with Rocky 2, but the central theme of this movie is kind of the central theme of Rocky 2, and they reference the story of Rocky and Rocky in the fight with Apollo, making sure Apollo gave him his best shot, and it also tells the story, a beautiful story between a father and son. See it with your dad, see it with your mom. If your dad has passed on, see it thinking about your dad and your relationship with him. If you have kids, see it with your son.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful story. It's really funny. I can't recommend it enough. I thought it was excellent. Somewhere in Queens. It's in theaters now. You can see it at all the Malco theaters. I think even the Ridgeway Theater that only has four theaters has it. Somewhere in Queens. If you like sports, if you like your dad, or you like your son, or you like Rocky 2, go see Somewhere in Queens. Back after this with bets.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the little red tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine. Fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates. It's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Some people ask me why we don't put the phone number for Sunrise on these commercials, and I'll tell you why. You're driving a car. Pretty much everyone hearing one of these commercials for Sunrise on Jefferson or Sunrise on Poplar are behind the wheel and have no business taking down a phone number for the best breakfast and lunch restaurants in Memphis. So I'll give you something you can find easy to remember. Sunrise901.com. Just go to sunrise901.com. You can see all the menus, merchandise, and every other thing you need to know about Sunrise.
4.9-liter V8, 0 to 60, and I'm about to find out.
Now, back to Sports 56 Happy Hour on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Tito's Vodka. Here once again, Johnny Radio.
Pat Benatar, right?
Great singer.
Great. I wanted to say one more thing about what we were just talking about real quick.
Movies? TV shows?
About the movies. I also saw a couple weeks ago, I had never seen this, and I'm late to the party here. Have you ever seen Inside Out?
Never seen it.
You know, it also has Bill Hader in it, by the way. Bill Hader's in Inside. He plays Fear.
Okay.
So the premise of Inside Out is that these characters exist as individual emotions,
Right.
and that like is their entire life is those emotions. Is they live in this little girl's head.
Yes.
Amy Poehler plays Joy. Phyllis from The Office plays Sadness.
Yeah.
Bill Hader plays fear. Lewis Black plays anger and it's kind of how all your emotions work together in your brain and stuff like that. I cried 5 or 6 times in it.
You're a crier.
It's especially in movies. If I buy into the story and buy into the emotional connection, it's so good though because it's a children's movie.
That's me with books though. I be crying during books.
It's
sometimes.
a Pixar movie though, so for children, and the characters you can view them as very just normal TV or normal movie characters.
Right.
There's a story that inherently takes place, but there's so many deep meanings in the story because they are emotions in your head, and so how the characters interact mimics exactly how if you're thinking about the way your emotions interact in your head, the way for instance, joy and sadness are always at odds with one another, and so that makes for good confrontation within a movie, if you're writing a narrative story, but also there's such a deeper meaning behind sadness and joy trying to suppress sadness. Because that's how you might live your own life. It's such a good movie. It is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Wow.
Brett Goldstein, who plays Roy Kent in Ted Lasso, who reviews movies on his own podcast called Films We Buried With, said it was the best movie of the last decade.
Is that why you saw it?
That's why I saw it.
Interesting.
It's because, I'd heard good things about it, and he said it was the best movie of the last decade. I said, I got to finally watch Inside Out. Can't recommend that enough. It's really good. I know I'm late to the party there, but if you haven't seen it,
I haven't seen it, so I guess I'm extra late to the party.
Man, that's a really good movie. We got to do bets here, Brian.
Sure do.
Usually I have NBA bets here. I don't have any NBA bets
Only
today.
one game tonight, though, right?
Only one game tonight, but but these lines are made more in advance for the playoffs than they are usually. There's one MLB game going off now. The Mets and Tigers have already started. There's another one that starts at 1 o'clock.
There's
D-backs,
two
Rangers.
that start at 1.
Oh, and Giants and Astros starts at 1. Do you have any MLB bets? Do you have any bets today? Give me what you got.
I like the Astros this afternoon against the Giants. 1 o'clock. Logan Webb has not been good. Framber Valdez, while he hasn't been great to start the season,
I have to say Logan Webb has gotten better. I read an article about this. At the beginning of the year, he was afraid to throw his fastball up.
Really?
So he was taking away himself a third of the zone, and everyone started pelting him bottom of the zone. His last start, he got a lot better at mixing them up. He was a lot more effective, so that's a factor for that game.
That's a good point.
Not to talk you off of taking that bet.
You might be talking me off a ledge on that one, but I do like a couple of the evening games. I like the Mets this evening, the night game, not this first game. Max Scherzer on the mound. I like Chicago, maybe -1.5 with Stroman on the mound. He's been really good this year, and the National starting pitcher is making his MLB debut. So maybe you could probably find -0.5 a run first 5. I would definitely take that. Those are probably the two that jump off the page. Honestly, hate to say this, probably the Angels tonight. I think you can get the money line right now, -130 against the Cardinals. Shohei's on the mound. I'd probably take that.
Sad.
Yeah.
Shohei got drilled by the Athletics his last time out, though. Yeah. He had a perfect game. Not perfect game. He had no runs through 4 or 5 innings and then gave up 5 runs in the 6th with 2 or 3 home runs or something like that. So,
Well, maybe that happens.
The Cardinals need a big inning. Cardinals need a big inning.
But last night, losing 5-1. Steven Matz, why is he in the pitching rotation?
It's a great question. Who would they put in instead?
I don't know.
Then that's why he's in the pitching rotation.
Well, that's a problem.
Yeah, I agree.
It shouldn't be who are we going to help. Who else could they put in there? It's a problem that he started the season. No, don't start me on Jake Woodford.
He's in the rotation too.
He is also in the rotation.
And Liberatore is apparently dealing in AAA.
Dealing.
Today's
not Libby Day. Today, who started for that? I don't know who. McGreevy maybe?
Oh, McGreevy.
You don't know anything about
I don't know who McGreevy is. I have some golf bets for you.
Oh, okay. We start tomorrow. Please, let me write these down. Hold on. Where's the pen and paper? I got to jot these down.
Well, you could listen to the podcast.
Right.
The Wells Fargo Championship, Bryant, is played at what golf course?
Oh, my gosh. I heard you say it earlier.
It's a type of bird.
Mocking Trails.
Quail Hollow in North Carolina.
Thanks.
Wells Fargo Championship this week. I've got some top 40 bets for plus money.
Oh, wow.
I like Cam Davis at even odds to make the top 40, and I love Sepp Straka, Georgia boy.
You're a big Sepp Straka guy.
Dude is built he is an absolute unit, a great ass on Sepp Straka.
Who was,
top 40 is plus 260.
Who was the pitcher we
love
were
those
watching
bets.
yesterday that
Spencer Strider.
Man,
he got some legs on that boy.
Oh, boy, that's some tree stump down there.
Got some legs on him. I also have some top 20 bets for some good odds. All of these are plus money bets. Terrell Hatton, I like. Max Homa, Jason Day plus money to finish in the top 20.
Jason Day's been good.
Max Homa plus money to finish in the top 20. Plus 105 for Sunjay M in the top 20.
Wow.
Cam Davis is plus 300 to finish in the top 20. And Sam Burns plus 130 to finish in the top 20. Also, I like this bet as well. I was kind of teetering on it, but I think I'm ready to go all in with it. Emiliano Grillo, who played last week in the Mexico Open, he's made 4 of 5 cuts at Quail Hollow. He's been really good at Quail Hollow, and he's also been really good the past few weeks. So his form at this golf course and his form coming into this week is really good. I think you can get plus money for him to be top 20 and to be top 40. So I think I would sprinkle a little bit on both of those for Emiliano Grillo.
Wow.
A lot of really good golf bets coming into this week, and that's all I got, Brian. I don't think I have any baseball bets for you.
Well, I've noticed just you kind of listing off names of your top 40 and top 20 bets. It seems like this is a more star-loaded field than the past 2 weeks.
I think the only guys in the top 50, I want to say top 100, but I definitely know top 50. The only 2 guys in the top 50 not playing are Rahm and
Finau?
No, Finau's playing and Scotty Scheffler. So Rahm and Scotty Scheffler.
So a really good field this week.
Excellent field this week.
That.
And I think you're going to see some value from some of these other guys that you've gotten a chance to watch the last couple weeks. And there's probably some matchup bets you can make in there. But I really like these a lot. And I know that's a lot of names I listed. You're not expecting to hit all of them.
Right.
But I think if all of those are named are plus money, all of those are plus money. I think I think easily we'll hit more than we don't, and you'll make money this week in Quail Hollow at the Wells Fargo Championship. That's it, Bryant. Anything else to say?
How about the Orioles tonight? Can I give one more bet out? The Orioles?
In 8 seconds?
Okay, the Orioles over the Royals. Thank you.
Sounds like a good bet. We will talk to you tomorrow.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite